He had a theory, not a comfortable one. After 20 years of building a company worth $7 billion, he had begun to suspect that the people closest to him, the directors, the vice presidents, the senior managers who sat in the good offices on the high floors, were not the people he thought they were. Not incompetent, not dishonest, something harder to prove and harder to fix. Unkind. He had seen things, small things. The particular way a senior director spoke to the woman who cleaned his office, the way a vice president looked past the security guard every morning without acknowledgement, the way the people with the corner offices had stopped seeing the people without them. He wanted to know how bad it was. So on a Monday morning, James Whitfield, worth $7 billion, owner of Whitfield Industries, the most recognizable face in the financial press, put on old clothes, a coat from a charity shop, worn shoes, 3 days of beard he had been growing for exactly this purpose. He sat outside the entrance to his own building with a paper cup, and he watched. For 3 days he watched the people who worked for him walk past him into the building he had built. What he saw on the first day made him angry. What he saw on the second day made him sad. What he saw on the third day changed everything. His name was James Whitfield. He was 47 years old and had been building things for 25 of those years, starting with a logistics software company at 22 and arriving through a sequence of decisions that the financial press called visionary and that he called obvious, at Whitfield Industries and $7 billion, and the particular position of someone who had created something significant and was now responsible for 4,000 people. He took the responsibility seriously. He had always taken it seriously, had believed from the beginning that the culture of a company was its most important asset, more important than the product or the market position or the particular financial metrics that analysts measured. Culture was what remained when everything else was under pressure. Culture was what you actually were. He had been watching his culture change. Not dramatically. Culture never changed dramatically. It changed in the small things, the particular accumulation of daily interactions that produced, over time, an atmosphere. He had been watching the atmosphere of Whitfield Industries change for 2 years and had been trying to understand whether what he was seeing was real. He had seen a director speak to the cleaning woman, not badly, not with hostility or explicit unkindness. With the specific absence of acknowledgement that was its own kind of unkindness, the particular way of looking past someone that communicated, without words, that they were not worth looking at. He had seen a vice president walk past the security guard every morning for 18 months, without once saying good morning. He had seen the people with the corner offices develop, over time, the specific blindness of people who had decided, without examining the decision, that some people were worth seeing and others were not. He wanted to know how deep it went. He arrived at 6:30, before the building opened, before the early arrivals. In the charity shop coat and the worn shoes and 3 days of beard, with a paper cup from a coffee shop 2 streets away, and he sat on the pavement outside the main entrance of Whitfield Industries and waited. The first person arrived at 7:15. A man named David Chen, Senior Vice President, Operations, 12 years with the company. One of the people James had believed was good for the culture because David was efficient and reliable and produced results. David walked past without looking. Not a glance, not a hesitation. The particular walk of someone for whom a person on the pavement was not information worth processing. The second person arrived at 7:22, a woman named Patricia Marsh, Director of Human Resources, 8 years with the company. The person responsible for the culture James was trying to understand. Patricia walked past. She looked at him once, the brief look of someone registering a presence, and looked away. She did not slow down. By 9 o'clock, 63 people had walked past James Whitfield sitting outside his own building. 63 people. 2 had looked at him. None had stopped. The first person who stopped was a woman named Rosa. She arrived at 8:47. He had watched her come around the corner with the particular purposeful walk of someone who was slightly late and knew it. She was perhaps 35. She wore the uniform of the building's cleaning staff, not Whitfield Industries employees directly, contracted through a facilities company, which meant she was technically outside the hierarchy he was testing. He noted this and decided it did not matter. She stopped, not dramatically. She was not a dramatic person. He understood from the way she stopped, which was simply the stop of someone who had seen something and was responding to it. She looked at him, not past him, at him. "Are you all right?" she said. "I'm fine," he said. "Thank you." She looked at his cup. She opened her bag. She had a coffee, her own coffee, the kind in the reusable cup of someone who had made it at home. She held it out. "I have this," she said. "I can get another one inside." He looked at the cup. "I can't take your coffee," he said. "I work in a building with a coffee machine," she said. "You're sitting on the pavement. Take the coffee." He took the coffee. "Thank you," he said. "Don't mention it," she said, and went into the building. He held her coffee for a long time. He came back on Tuesday. Same coat, same cup, same position. By 9 o'clock, 58 people had walked past. The second person who stopped was a man named Marcus. Marcus worked in the post room. James knew this because he had, over 25 years of building a company, made a point of knowing the people who worked in the post room, which most senior executives did not bother with and which James considered a reasonable measure of character. Marcus stopped at 8:15. He looked at James. He sat down beside him on the pavement, not to give him something, just to sit beside him. "Cold this morning," Marcus said. "Yes," James said. "You been here long?" "A while," James said. Marcus reached into his bag. "A sandwich." He broke it in half. "I made too much," he said. This was not true. James could see the precise size of the sandwich, which had been made for one person and was being halved for a stranger. He took the half. "Thank you, Marcus," he said. Marcus looked at him. "You know my name," he said. "I've seen your badge," James said. Marcus nodded, satisfied. They sat on the pavement together for 15 minutes. Then Marcus went inside. The third day was different. He had been expecting to observe. He had been expecting to continue the inventory of who stopped and who didn't, to build the case he was building, to arrive at the clear picture he needed before he could act. He had not expected the girl. Her name was Emma. She was 7 years old. She was the daughter of a woman named Sophia who worked in accounts payable. James knew Sophia, had interviewed her himself 3 years ago, had been impressed by her specific combination of competence and directness. Sophia walked past on Wednesday morning. Not with the specific blindness of the directors, with the particular tunnel vision of a working mother running slightly late, her mind already in the office, managing the particular arithmetic of drop-off and start time and everything in between. Emma stopped her. "Mama," Emma said. "That man." "Emma, we're late." "Mama." Sophia stopped. She looked at James. Something shifted in her expression, the tunnel vision dissolving into the particular attention of someone who had been reminded to look. "Good morning," she said. "Good morning," he said. Emma crossed to him. She held out something, a small chocolate, the kind children carried in pockets, slightly warm. "This is for you," she said, "because it's cold." He looked at the chocolate. He looked at the 7-year-old who had stopped her mother for him. "Thank you," he said. "Emma," Sophia said. "We have to." "I know," Emma said. "I just wanted him to have something warm." They went inside. James sat on the pavement with a slightly warm chocolate in his hand and understood, completely and suddenly, what he had been missing. He went inside on the 4th day, as himself. In his regular clothes, which produced the particular sequence of reactions that he observed with new attention. The security guard straightening, the receptionist smiling, the people in the corridors adjusting their posture as he passed. The same people who had walked past him on the pavement, now performing. He called a meeting at 10 o'clock. Not the board, the company. All of Whitfield Industries, which was 4,000 people, and which had never received this kind of meeting because James had never needed to have it before. He stood at the front of the room. He told them what he had done. The coat, the cup, the 3 days. The room was very quiet. 63 people walked past me on Monday, he said. 58 on Tuesday. I was sitting outside the building I built, in a charity shop coat, with a paper cup, and 63 of my employees walked past without acknowledgement. He let that sit. 3 people stopped, he said. In 3 days, 3 people, out of more than 100 who walked past, saw me. One of them works for the facilities company that cleans this building. One works in the post room. One is 7 years old. He paused. Not one director, he said. Not one vice president. Not one person from the senior leadership team. He made the decisions that week, not impulsively. He was not an impulsive man, had learned over 25 years that decisions made in anger were decisions made incorrectly. He took the week. He sat with what he had seen. He examined it from every angle he could find. David Chen, Senior Vice President, Operations, walked past Monday without looking. Honest assessment. David was excellent at his job. He was also, James now understood, someone who had been promoted beyond the scope of his character. The job required more than operational efficiency. It required the specific understanding that operations were made of people and people required acknowledgement. David was reassigned, not fired, reassigned to a role that suited what he actually was, which was an excellent analyst who should not be managing people. Patricia Marsh, Director of Human Resources, walked past without slowing. James did not reassign Patricia. He fired her, not because of the walking past, because of what the walking past revealed about the 8 years she had spent managing the culture of Whitfield Industries. You could not build a culture of dignity while walking past people on pavements. You could not be the person responsible for how people were treated and be someone who did not treat people. He fired 6 people in total. He promoted 3. Marcus from the post room, Director of Employee Experience, a role James created specifically for what Marcus had demonstrated, which was the understanding that experience was built from small moments of sitting on cold pavements and sharing sandwiches. Rosa from the facilities company. He called the facilities company and asked them to release her contract. He hired her directly. She became his executive assistant, which was the most senior non-board position in the company, which produced the particular reaction of someone who had not expected this and was not going to pretend otherwise. "I gave you a coffee," she said. "You gave me your coffee," he said. "That's different." And Sophia from accounts payable, who had been running slightly late and had been stopped by a 7-year-old who wanted to give a stranger something warm. Sophia became head of accounts payable, not because of Emma, because of the 3 years of work that had preceded Emma, which James had reviewed with the specific attention of someone who now understood that he had not been looking carefully enough. Emma got a letter, handwritten, from James. "Dear Emma, thank you for the chocolate. It was the warmest thing I had in 3 days. You reminded me to look. I hope you keep doing that." He talked to her properly on the Friday. Not the employment conversation that had been handled efficiently, with contracts and terms, and the particular clarity of someone who had decided something and was implementing it. This was different. She came to his office. She looked at the office, the particular look of someone who had cleaned many offices and was now sitting in one. "You cleaned this office," he said. "The building," she said. Single quotes, "Yes." "How long?" "4 years," she said. "Did you know who I was?" he said. On the pavement, she looked at him. "I thought you might be," she said. "Your hands were wrong. You had the hands of someone who worked at a desk, and you gave me your coffee anyway," he said. "The hands didn't change anything," she said. "You were sitting on the pavement. That was sufficient reason." He looked at her. "That's why you're here," he said. "I know," she said. "Is that all right?" he said. She thought about it honestly, which she had come to understand was what she did. Thought about things honestly before responding. "Yes," she said. "It's all right." "Good," he said, "because I have a great deal to learn from someone who gives their coffee to strangers on cold mornings." "It was one coffee," she said. "It was the right coffee," he said. "At the right moment. Things changed. Not overnight, James had learned, over 25 years, that culture did not change overnight. It changed in the daily accumulation of different decisions, different moments, different standards applied consistently until they became the new normal. He started meeting with Marcus every Monday, not formally, in the way of someone who understood that the most useful information came from the people closest to the daily reality, which Marcus was. They talked about what Marcus was hearing. About the small moments in corridors and elevators and the particular interactions that produced atmosphere. He started saying good morning to the security guard, not as a policy, as a fact. The man's name was Robert. He had worked the morning shift for 9 years. He had a daughter who had just started university and a wife who taught primary school, and opinions about the local football team that James found considerably more interesting than the financial press's opinions about anything. He had simply not known this. Because he had not asked, he started asking. 3 months in, something changed in the building. He could not point to a specific moment. It was the accumulation of small moments, which was how culture always changed. But he noticed it. The particular atmosphere of a place where people felt seen had a specific quality, and Whitfield Industries was beginning to have it. "What did you do?" his chairman asked. "At the quarterly board meeting, I sat on a pavement," James said. The chairman looked at him. "For 3 days," James said, "with a paper cup." He sat on a pavement for 3 days, in a charity shop coat, with a paper cup. 63 people walked past on the first day. 3 stopped. In 3 days, a cleaner with a coffee, a post-room worker with half a sandwich, a 7-year-old with a warm chocolate. Not one director, not one vice president, not one person from the senior team. Here is what we learned. Character is not what you do when people are watching. Character is what you do when you think nobody important is watching. The cleaner didn't know he was important. The post-room worker didn't know he was important. The 7-year-old simply saw someone cold and had something warm. They were not trying to impress anyone. They were just being themselves. That is the only test that matters. Not the interview, not the performance review, not the quarterly results. Who are you when nobody important is watching? Because someone is always watching, and sometimes that someone is the person who built everything. That is everything.